An easy way to add or subtract integers is by using a number line. Now, let's first review what an integer really is. An integer is really just all of the whole numbers, for instance 2, and the negative version of those numbers. In other words, it's every whole number, so any whole number and their opposites. So 2 is an integer and negative 2 is also an integer. All it is a name for those kinds of numbers. So it's nice because then there's no decimals, no fractions, none of that. It's just whole numbers and the opposite of those whole numbers. So let's just take an example of a subtraction problem. 6 minus 2. So if we were doing 6 minus 2 on a number line, what I would do is I would look at 6 because that's my first number and that would be my starting point. And then when I subtract 2, I would count to the left, 1, 2. And my end point is my answer, equals 4. So remember, my first number is my starting point, then subtraction means I go left, and then I'm by the number. And that will make, using the number line, I could track and figure out where I'll land. Now that should seem pretty simple to you by now in 6th grade, but moving on, let's take a look at this. We can see we have an integer, negative 2 plus 6. So remember, the first number is my starting place, negative 2. Now I'm going to go plus 6, which is I'm going to move to the right 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my end point is positive 4. So that also equals 4. So negative 2 plus 6 equals 4, which is the same as 6 minus 2 equals 4. Now notice I'm actually using a negative 2 here, and we can also see that there's a negative 2 right up there. And a positive 6 and a positive 6, they each combine to make the same answer. So let's take a look at our last example. Negative 3 plus negative 2. Now this can be a little bit tricky, and I'm going to change my language a bit to understand it. So our starting place is always the first one, which is negative 3, and then I'm going to add negative 2. This means I'm going to add a negative 2. Now all the negative numbers are to the left, so I'm actually going to go when I add negative 2, I'm actually going to the left. Even though there's a plus sign, I'm going to the left because I'm adding a negative. So I start at negative 3, and I make it negative 2 more, so minus 2. And my answer is actually negative 5. This is how you can use number lines to help you add or subtract integers.